Whenever a trip or vacation is coming up, most of us can't wait to get going. It doesn't matter whether you're flying to a faraway country or exploring your own region, a vacation is always a reason to be happy. This was also the case for Judy and Jeffrey Smith. In 1997, the couple set off for Philadelphia as part of Jeffrey's business trip. But what was supposed to be a nice couple's vacation away from Jeffrey's professional obligations turned into a nightmare. Judy Smith disappeared in the middle of the strange city. She would not reappear until months later, dead, in a place that posed a mystery and was hundreds of miles away from where she had disappeared. Before embarking on the journey from which she will never return, Judy Smith is doing well. Very well, in fact. After her first 2 marriages didn't last, she's now happy with her 3rd husband, Jeffrey. The two have been a couple for more than 10 years. 5 months ago, they finally tied the knot. Judy works as a nurse and is the mother of 2 children, Craig and Amy, from previous relationships. Judy and her husband Jeffrey also met through her job. Judy cared for her future husband's seriously ill father. In the process, Judy and Jeffrey grew closer. The two live together in Massachusetts and are happy to have found true love again after failed marriages. Jeffrey's business trip to Philadelphia can be combined perfectly with a relaxing vacation. Away from the conference, Jeffrey has enough free time to go on trips with Judy. Plus, New Jersey is not too far away. The couple has some friends there whom they would like to visit. Judy and Jeffrey are both very much looking forward to the trip. But problems arise right at the start of their departure. Problems that seem mundane. But against the backdrop of later events, they could almost be considered a bad omen. When the Smiths arrive at Boston Logan International Airport on April 9, 1997, Judy notices something. She has forgotten her ID, and without her ID, she cannot board the flight to Philadelphia. But Jeffrey urgently needs to get to his conference. Besides, it is annoying enough that the Smiths have to rebook one of the 2 flight tickets. So they decide that Jeffrey will fly to Philadelphia as planned. Judy would fetch her ID and simply follow on a later flight. There is another flight from Boston to Philadelphia that same evening. So the couple wouldn't even lose a day of their vacation due to this unfortunate incident. In fact, everything goes according to plan, or rather, according to the new plan. In the early evening of April 9th, Judy Smith also arrives in Philadelphia. She takes a taxi to the DoubleTree Hotel, where the Smiths have booked a room for the week. Jeffrey meets her in the hotel lobby. Judy even brings Jeffrey a bouquet of flowers as an apology for having to take a later flight due to her mistakes. The next day, Jeffrey goes to his conference. Judy wants to spend her time sightseeing. She is particularly interested in Independence Hall and the Liberty Bell. At 5 p.m., the two would meet again at the hotel and then attend a cocktail party in the hotel lobby. At around 9 a.m., Judy and Jeffrey say goodbye to each other. They kiss and hug. Judy grabs her red backpack, which she always carries with her everywhere she goes, and leaves the DoubleTree Hotel in the city center. On this day, April 10th, 1997, Judy Smith disappears. When she reappears, she is already dead. And the circumstances of her death are so mysterious that to this day, no one knows what happened to her. At first, Jeffrey thinks Judy is just running late, that she might have lost track of time or is still visiting one of the city's sites. But his wife doesn't show up. Her belongings are missing from the hotel room. Her red backpack, Her wallet and cash are gone. Judy hasn't returned from her trip, but has been out all day. Jeffrey looks around the cocktail party taking place in the basement of the hotel. But even there, he finds no trace of Judy. Jeffrey talks to a hotel concierge who immediately offers to call the surrounding hospitals. Perhaps something has happened to Judy and she is sitting in an emergency room somewhere in Philadelphia. That morning, the couple had discussed exactly what Judy wanted to see in Philadelphia that day. So Jeffrey decides on the spot to get into a taxi. Judy wanted to explore the city on a city tour bus that day. Together, Jeffrey and the taxi driver drive the bus route. Jeffrey still hopes to see his wife somewhere as they drive by. Maybe sitting in a restaurant, standing in a line, or lost on the side of the road because she has lost her bearings. But this attempt is also in vain. So Jeffrey reports to the police. However, he is turned away. Since Judy is an adult woman, she is free to decide where she wants to be. After just one day, it is simply too early to report her missing. Jeffrey has no choice but to let the police reassure him. Surely Judy Smith would show up at the hotel again soon. But Judy does not return overnight either. In his desperation, Jeffrey contacts the mayor of Philadelphia directly. He files a complaint and is shocked that no one seems willing to help him with the search. The complaint actually has an effect. The city authorities ensure that police officers take on the case. A large search operation is launched on the same day and flyers are put up. Soon after, the first sightings are reported. But instead of hope, these observations cause considerable confusion. An employee at the Doubletree Hotel remembers Judy talking to her on the morning she went missing. She asked where the stop for the city bus tours was. So, like Jeffrey said, Judy seems to have been planning to go on one of those tours. A bus driver confirmed this. Judy got on his bus. However, he dropped her off near the Doubletree Hotel at around 3 p.m. As we know, Judy was not there when she was supposed to meet her husband Jeffrey at 5 p.m. The police are trying to get more information about what Judy did after 3 p.m. on April 10th. Someone claims to have seen her at a Greyhound bus stop. However, there are also public restrooms there. So Judy may not necessarily have been there to continue her journey by bus. She could also have been there to use the restrooms. Another interesting observation was made in a clothing store. A woman with a red backpack like the one Judy was carrying is said to have bought clothes there. She told the saleswoman that the clothes were for her daughter. She often bought clothes for her and brought them to her, even though her daughter rarely liked them. Judy's daughter Amy later confirmed this detail to the police. In fact, her mother often brought her clothes that she didn't really like. The woman also reportedly said that she had come to Philadelphia to accompany her husband to a conference. This, along with the statement about her daughter, seems to make this sighting reliable. However, when the woman left the store, she suddenly began to behave strangely. She asked a young girl to come with her and claimed that the stranger was her daughter. However, Judy's daughter Amy was not in Philadelphia at the time, and Amy is an adult woman. It is not known exactly how the situation unfolded. After that, Judy Smith's trail goes cold. However, there are other statements that cast the missing woman in a similarly bizarre light. Most witnesses who claim to have seen Judy describe her as confused and disoriented. She's said to have been seen in restaurants, clothing stores, and wandering aimlessly around the city. She may even have stayed overnight away from home. Some employees of the Society Hill Hotel in Philadelphia claim that Judy stayed with them. The hotel is a cheap accommodation that is currently rated quite negatively on the internet. The staff say they remember Judy well. She made such a negative impression during her visit to Society Hill that the employees named her Weirdo of the Week. Judy talked nonsense and claimed that someone named the Emperor would soon send her money. She's also said to have masturbated in front of an open window, visible to other hotel guests. None of this fits with Judy at all. On the morning of her departure for the sightseeing tour, she was in high spirits. Everything was as usual. A homeless man questioned by the police claims that Judy slept on a bench next to him. However, a homeless woman who resembles Judy is said to have been wandering around the area. Even Judy's children, Craig and Amy, who had come to Philadelphia to help with the search, are said to have mistaken the homeless woman for their missing mother at first glance. It is unclear whether the reported sightings were really Judy or the homeless woman. The strange behavior described by witnesses would not actually fit Judy, and certainly not the plans she had for her vacation in Philadelphia. She had a firm appointment with her husband and friends. Why would her behavior have changed so suddenly? And why would she have checked into the Society Hill Hotel? Could the reason for her strange behavior and mysterious disappearance perhaps be very close at hand? When the police search for a missing person, it is customary to first examine the immediate environment. The person closest to Judy is her husband, Jeffrey. He is also the one who planned the trip with Judy, and the person who last saw Judy before she left on her trip. So investigators begin to take a close look at Jeffrey Smith. Some police officers considered Jeffrey a prime suspect. According to various reports, he refused to take a lie detector test. However, there is no evidence that Jeffrey could have harmed his wife, let alone had a motive for doing so. Friends and family are certain that he is not the key to solving the case. As a result, the case goes quiet for the time being. It is not until 5 months after Judy's disappearance on September 7, 1997, that there are new developments. Developments that turn the entire Judy Smith case upside down. Pisgah National Forest in the U.S. state of North Carolina is more than 950 kilometers away from Philadelphia. 5 months after the missing person report, 2 hunters make a shocking discovery there. The 2 are traveling near Chestnut Creek in the Stony Point picnic area. On the churned-up forest floor, they find the skeletal remains of a human being. More specifically, a woman. The body had been wrapped in a blue blanket. A bra found with the remains has puncture marks. It looks as if the dead woman had been repeatedly stabbed in the chest. However, the body is too decomposed to determine the exact cause of death. Among the human remains, investigators also find $200 in cash, a blue backpack filled with winter clothing, and a pair of high-quality Bolle sunglasses. The backpack and sunglasses are buried in shallow holes near the site where the body was found. A diamond-studded wedding ring is still on the skeletonized finger of the deceased. While you probably already have a sad guess as to who the female corpse belongs to, investigators have no idea whose remains they are looking at. After all, the location where the body was found is not exactly obvious. It is 950 kilometers away from the place where Judy Smith was last seen. Only a dental analysis provides certainty. The dead woman from Pisgah National Forest is the missing Judy Smith. The discovery of the body brings not only sad certainty for Judy's husband Jeffrey and her other relatives, but also many questions. The circumstances of the discovery are at least as mysterious as those surrounding Judy's disappearance. First of all, there is the most obvious question. How did Judy Smith, who was reported missing in Philadelphia, end up in North Carolina, more than 950 kilometers away? According to Jeffrey, with whom she had lived for 10 years, there was never any plan to travel there. What's more, the area where Judy was found is very remote. You can only get this deep into Pisgah National Forest if you know your way around or want to go on a challenging hike. The wedding ring found with Judy's body does indeed belong to her. However, the sunglasses and blue backpack do not. There is no trace of her own red backpack, which she had left at the hotel on the day of her disappearance. Judy's husband Jeffrey had never seen the clothes she was wearing when she died. The police are also baffled as they are brand new, high-quality hiking clothes. Judy seems to have equipped herself with thermal underwear, hiking boots, and new jeans. From this, the police deduced that Judy probably bought this hiking clothing herself in North Carolina and then set off on a hike in Pisgah National Forest. The bizarre thing is that Judy suffered from severe osteoarthritis in her knee. A hike through Pisgah Forest would have involved considerable effort and pain for her. It is unlikely that her killer simply dumped Judy's body in the forest, not least because the nearest road is far from where she was found. No matter where the police start, they always come back to the same questions. How and why did Judy come to North Carolina? And how, why, and when did she encounter her killer? The police begin investigating on site in North Carolina. In fact, several witnesses are found. 4 people independently claim to have seen Judy Smith in the city of Asheville. One of them is the owner of a small shop in the city. She states that Judy drove up to her shop in a gray car. She bought several sandwiches worth $30 and a toy truck. The police consider the sighting to be reliable. However, it raises numerous questions. Where would Judy have gotten the gray car? And for whom would she have bought a toy truck? The sandwiches could indicate that she may have needed provisions for a longer trip. There is another saleswoman from a different store who claims that Judy Smith came into her store. The encounter took place just a few days after her disappearance in Philadelphia. She seemed very attentive to me. She was very pleasant. I didn't see anything about her that would indicate that she was in any way not okay. She told me that her husband was a lawyer and that they were from Boston. They had been in Pennsylvania and he had been at a conference, and she had decided to come here. This contradicts the statements made by the hotel employees in Philadelphia. They claimed that Judy had been acting very strangely and had been noticed as the weirdo of the week. Another witness, who lives at a campground near where the body was found, claims to have seen Judy there. These 2 witness statements and Judy's new hiking gear continue to suggest that she came to North Carolina voluntarily, for whatever reason. However, she must have met someone there who wanted to harm her. But what was their motive? Robbery and murder can be ruled out. A thief would hardly have passed up the $200 in cash and the diamond-studded wedding ring. What's more, any reasonably professional criminal would have realized that Judy could easily be identified by the ring. Furthermore, the discovery in the deepest forest of North Carolina continues to argue against Jeffrey Smith as the perpetrator. Not only does he have a watertight alibi due to the conference, Jeffrey Smith is severely overweight. According to experts, he is so overweight that a hike like the one Judy's killer must have undertaken would have been impossible for him. At the time of Judy's disappearance, a serial killer was on the loose in North Carolina. The serial killer, named Gary Michael Hilton, was investigated by the police as a potential suspect. However, no connection to the murder of Judy Smith could be established. When Jeffrey and Judy's children, Amy and Craig, return from their search in Philadelphia without any results, they don't give up. Back home in Massachusetts, Jeffrey hires private investigators and distributes hundreds of flyers himself. But neither the private investigators nor the authorities can prevent the Judy Smith case from becoming a cold case. Even experienced investigators are at a loss in view of the evidence. Some police officers believe that Judy was going through a midlife crisis and therefore traveled to North Carolina alone. There, she may have encountered her killer by chance. But Judy's family doesn't believe this. According to them, Judy was more than happy in the period before her disappearance. Only one of Judy's friends expresses skepticism. She says that at the time this happened, Jeff and Judy's marriage was very fragile. Something must have happened that caused her to take a break from Jeff. But with her trip to North Carolina, Judy would have left behind not only Jeffrey, but also other family members, friends, and above all, her children Craig and Amy. Jeffrey Smith becomes increasingly withdrawn over the next few years. As a lawyer, he only takes on sporadic cases. He now says that, as he himself is on the victim's side, he can no longer reconcile representing criminals with his conscience. He continues to have a good relationship with Judy's daughter Amy and her son Craig. But Jeffrey is said to have suffered greatly from not having contributed to solving the case of his murdered wife. To this day, no one knows what happened to Judy Smith in the spring of 1997. Judy's husband, Jeffrey Smith, is no longer alive. He died in 2005, 8 years after his wife's murder. In 2016, the Judy Smith case file was reopened. Unfortunately, no new evidence was found, and the case was closed again. The case has since become a very well-known cold case. Its many inconsistencies leave room for numerous theories and speculations. Of course, I would also be interested to hear what you think about the case. What do you think happened to Judy Smith? What was she doing in North Carolina? And how could it have happened that she met her killer there? I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. What's more, you can support the channel by leaving a comment. And with a like and a subscription. Feel free to activate the bell so you don't miss any more videos and so that the video gets a lot of interaction shortly after it's uploaded. This is important so that the video is recommended to people who haven't subscribed to Insolito yet. Thank you in advance, and thank you for watching. I hope you're having a good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you're watching the video. I hope to see you again in the next video. Until then, bye everyone. Bye.